It might not matter to you now. It might not matter to you to the day you breathe your last breath. But it will matter. You will regret it. You will be sorry. And I hope it's on this side of the grave, because if it's on the other side, you're going to be sorry forever. A lot of you have heard this song, I'm sure. But it's true. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Once was blind, but now I see.
Have you seen Junior's grades?
Do whatever the fuck you want to. Fit the grown-ups and behave like the way a teenager really wants to behave, wants to behave, wants to behave.
Rebellion, chaos, disorder.
He's losing his mind and he feels it growing.
A quiz. Test your powers of discernment by answering the following question. Through their lyrics, sound, concerts, and lifestyles, today's rock artists encourage their fans to A. Trust and obey their parents. B. Honor the great heroes of past generations. C. Value maturity, modesty, and good etiquette. Or D.
Some people say this music is loud, stupid, excessive, vulgar, and appeals to the basest animal instincts. That's why we play it.
I don't know. I think music really, it's supposed to be like a feeling. It's usually about like youth culture, totally rebelling.
Probably a lot of it was rebellion. Has a lot of influence on people and doing your own thing.
It's no fun to be good. You got, you gotta let loose and you gotta do rules. I guess it's kind of a cliche, but rules are meant to be broken, I guess, is what they say.
Rock and roll's always kind of been rebellious. I don't know, it's supposed to bug your parents, I guess.
What do your parents think of ICP? They f***ing hate them, but f*** them.
In my opinion, rock and roll is more of a rebellious type music than it is stay in school, go get good grades, you know. I don't know, but I like it.
To say that rock celebrates rebellion is like noting the sky's blue. Spin the radio dial or plop down in front of MTV anytime, day or night, and you'll be hit right between the eyes with what one prestigious rock magazine called rock's essential core, a core of rebellion, sexuality, assertion, and even violence. All the things that have always been unacceptable to a ruling establishment. Once that vigorous, horny-handed core is extracted from rock and roll, you're left with little more than music. As Details magazine observed after covering one of the many music festivals that have come to dot the summer's landscape, so what did we learn? We learned that old rock and roll devils will strip off their clothes. We learned to shout, F the police. We learned that, should a waft of passion come into our lives, we should just scream, let's get butt naked and blank. There's no need or time to belabor the obvious. We all know, or should know, that the essence of rock and roll is rebellion. The only reason for rock to exist is to be a soundtrack for the movie of teenage angst and anger. A far more interesting, as well as profitable line of investigation is to try and understand something of the spiritual implications of this rebellion. Where did it come from? What are its byproducts? Where is it leading us? Is teenage angst and anger just a fact of life like zits? And the music just a harmless way of venting aggression? Or is the truth heavier than that? Well, we could spend hours and still not do justice to this issue. But let's try to gain at least some general insights into these important questions by briefly examining a few key dynamics in our culture's love affair with rebellion. Before we get started, though, we need to make an important distinction. By rebellion, the Bible means anarchy and lawlessness, not the resistance of good against evil. God doesn't want blind submission to the earthly status quo. Jesus was the ultimate stick in the eye for injustice, indifference, and hypocrisy, and was ultimately hung on a cross for it. And we're called to follow in his footsteps. The 60s and the rock and roll revolution, for example, came about not because of what was righteous about America in the 50s, but because of what was wrong. The love of money and materialism. The superficial and ultimately idolatrous America right or wrong attitude that often passed for true patriotism. Parents handing their kids over to professionals, whether academic or ecclesiastical, to be raised and nurtured. Platitudes and or silence instead of honest and vigorous discussion on key life issues like sex, politics, and religion. Entrenched sin in attitudes concerning race and equality. A war that was not fought biblically. Good boys can, but good girls don't attitudes about premarital sex. Hypocritical approaches to substance abuse. And worst of all, a cultural, wishy-washy, I'm a Christian because I'm an American kind of spirituality. On and on it goes. True biblical Christianity calls for open prophetic resistance to these types of institutionalized evil. No doubt, if the church had been faithful in this regard, the anarchistic and ultimately occult forms of rebellion that took root in the 60s would have never prospered. So, turning the world right side up is good. Plunging it into do what you want to do anarchy is, well, rebellion. With that critical distinction made, let's now look at a few aspects of the rebellious spirit that did take hold in the 60s and what they mean for us today. Number 1, rebellion is evil. Though frequently celebrated today as something cool, comical, and even heroic, make no mistake about it, God hates and punishes the sin of rebellion. The evil man seeks only rebellion, therefore a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Furthermore, God views it as a form of occultism, something we'll look at in more detail a bit later. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Lastly, while all rebellion is serious, there's one specific type that especially tears at the fabric of divine order. Honor your father and your mother. To rebel against, to dishonor one's parents is so abominable to God that cursing or striking them, as well as other extreme forms of protracted rebellion against parental authority, was a capital offense in Old Testament Israel.
Shut up, slut, you're causing too much chaos. Just bend over and take it like a slut, okay, ma? Oh, now he's raping his own mother, abusing a horse, snorting coke, and we gave him the Rolling Stone cover?
In this context, one shudders to think how God views rapper Eminem's rebelliousness, as well as the millions of fans who feed off his depravities.
And there's a million of us just like me, who cuss like me, who just don't give a f*** like me, who dress like me, walk, talk, and act like me.
Hit her with the skateboard.
Parents and their authority have become a primary target for the grotesque defiance that courses through the world of rock and roll.
Rock and roll is supposed to bring you crazed joy and rebellion for no apparent reason. That's what it started out as, music to your parents off.
And that's what rock and roll ought to be. Kids ought to come up and just hit you right in the face. I don't mean breaking noses, but I mean with what it is they have to say and dressing different so that adults are going, oh, God. Yeah, that's it, you know. Make them throw up.
The parents and mom